Welcome back. Today's video is very special because we'll be taking an in-depth look at our new art glass gel polish collection, which is available to shop on our site now. And I'll be showing you how to do this summer stained glass design step by step using every gel polish color from the new collection. You can shop on our site at doperthanyournails.com. There's a link in the description along with the discount code. Before we go into more detail, here is an overview of this stunning gel polish collection that we've just dropped on our website for the summer. This is the art glass collection. It includes 8 stunning jelly shades for the summer. Each shade has been very thoughtfully curated. You guys know I always do my best to make sure that I'm bringing unique colors and putting together a theme and collection that is unique and tells a story in its own way. And the formula is very pigmented, super smooth and easy to work with, also very buildable. And as you can see, they're still very transparent and see-through. You can use these colors as a base, you can use them for stained glass nails, so many different things. You can use them for shading, you can mix colors. Jelly polishes are super versatile, so let's look at the collection a little bit more closely. So here's the box that the gel polish collection comes in. We have a totally different design this time around. It's a sleek box with an inner sleeve and tray. And as you can see, the theme is art glass. It's actually very inspired by architecture, urban design, city planning, the built environment. Really, I spent a lot of time working in this field and studying it and working in that profession before I ever picked up a nail brush. And so it's very special to me. It's a big part of how I kind of was drawn to the world of design and kind of where I first found that spark of creativity. And obviously now I'm channeling that into a different medium, but I still wanted to do a collection kind of inspired by this, kind of how, you know, light and form and space kind of come together. So yeah, like I said, this is a field that I know on a very deep level. So this is what the entire theme and color selection and names are inspired by. So this is the sleeve that we see here that pretty much the gel polishes sit in. It's a really nice sleeve to actually display everything in, even when you take it out of the box. And here are the 8 shades. We have our classic 15 milliliter bottles. So the first shade is called Glass Atrium. So this is a very vibrant jelly blue shade, very summery, very bright, very pigmented. And we can talk more about the names once we get into the actual swatches, but you can see it's a super vibrant color. Next up is Antique Jade. I think this might be my personal favorite. It's just such a unique color, and I'm super proud to have this in the collection because I don't think I've ever seen a jelly polish color like this. Then we have Golden Hour, which is exactly what the name says. It's a yellowish orange, just really bright, juicy color, very reminiscent of that late afternoon sunlight. Then we have Rosette Pane, which is a soft pink with kind of a subtle peach undertone. It's not like a neon pink. So this is like a really nice color for the summer and beyond. Then we have Crimson Wash. This is a deep jelly red. I'm also really excited to use this for Halloween. Then we have Violet Prism next up, which is a very vibrant purple. The pigment on this color is just so crazy. They're all very pigmented, but I feel like it really shines with Violet Prism. I have Verdant Glaze. This is a very earthy, kind of foresty green. Just a super nice color for both summer and fall and beyond. And finishing off with Etchedember. This is a super fiery, very electric color. The pigment on this one is also just so insane. I mean, just look at this orange. Like, it's literally glowing when you're looking at it. I'm obsessed. So let's start swatching them. So here we have Glass Atrium, and like I said, there are 2 different formulas in this collection, but they are all jelly shades. So 5 out of 8 shades are more of a glass-like kind of very clear, crystal clear transparency. Glass Atrium is one of those. And you can just see, like, if I put my brush, this is our classic brush handle underneath. It is crystal clear, but still very pigmented. This color is very inspired by just like buildings made out of glass, floor-to-ceiling windows, and open skylights. It's a very architectural blue, but also really gives like an ocean vibe. And this color is one of 3 of a different jelly formula, so it has kind of a softer, milkier kind of jelly consistency. It's still very much so a jelly color and clear, but you can see it kind of has a softer look. So we wanted to include 2 different formulas just for variety and just to kind of switch it up, and you can just see how stunning this color is. It's very much so inspired by like mid-century modern tiles, and it's a little bit more of a quiet color, you know, it's not too neon or overly bright, but it just truly stands out on its own. Next up is Golden Hour. This is also one of the softer jellies. This is exactly what the name says. It's definitely reminiscent of that late afternoon sunlight. This color is just super juicy. It has a yellowish orange tone, but again, kind of a softer consistency. Then we have Rosette Pane. This is the third of the softer jellies. This is a soft pink color, and it's inspired by like those classic rose stained glass windows. It's also a little bit more of a muted color, but it's still very pigmented and very stunning, and also very great for just like layering colors or even shading. All these colors are actually really great for that. There's so many uses for jelly colors. Next up is Crimson Wash, and the rest of the colors are going to be more of the glass-like consistency. So this is a really stunning deep red jelly. This color is very much so inspired by like terracotta clay or like aged brick. This is also going to be really nice for Halloween and maybe even Valentine's Day. Next up we have Violet Prism. This is a very saturated, very pigmented purple, but as you can see, it's that glass-like jelly color. Also very inspired by stained glass and just kind of how light transforms space. I think a purple jelly is definitely a must-have in any nail art kit as well. Next we have Verdant Glaze. This is a very earthy green, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. This is also going to be really nice for fall. This is very inspired by like all things botanical and like glass block walls and all of those things. Definitely not your typical green, and just a very unique addition to any nail art collection. Next we are finishing off with Etchedember. This is a super fiery jelly orange, very inspired by like molten glass, and the color really speaks for itself. It honestly looks like it's glowing. It's such a unique, very electric orange shade. Also very reminiscent of like fire and like flames, and another very great addition to any nail art kit. So here are the 8 colors all together. Here are all the colors together, and like I mentioned, this is available now on our website. If you're watching this, you can purchase it now. doperthanyournails.com, link in the description, and use code YouTube for 10% off. Now, the rest of the video is going to be an in-depth tutorial on a summer stained glass design featuring every color in the collection. We're starting off with Rosette Pane, and I'm going to be walking you through the design I just showed you to start off. We are going to be doing 10 nails, so we're using Rosette Pane and Antique Jade. Starting off with Rosette Pane, which again is that soft pink with like a very subtle peach undertone. And then the next nail is going to be Antique Jade. We are going to be doing some aura nails as kind of an accent, so let's start off with those. I always add a top coat after I've cured the base color because it helps the color just stick better. So for the aura design, I'm going to be using our art gel in the shade Supernova. This is a really creamy, thicker consistency. It's a really pigmented solid pink. So the way that you do this is you just take a makeup sponge and you're gonna dab the color onto the edge. You really want to make sure you're using an art gel or gel paint or a thicker gel paint for this, basically, because that's really what's going to help create the aura look. So our art gels are perfect for this. So I'm just taking the center of my brush and dabbing it, and then taking another brush to kind of spread that out. I recommend building this up in layers, so I like to take my sponge and do a second layer after that. Then I'm using this teal color. This is not from my brand, but the Supernova shade that I just showed from the art gel is from our brand that you can shop on our website. We have a whole collection of art gels that are thicker and have a creamier consistency. So I can also use the cleaner side of my brush to kind of spread everything out. So you can just flip your sponge over and again use the edges to focus on the kind of perimeter of that circle and really soften everything out. That's what's really going to help you create that aura look, and just make sure everything is nice and even. And again, going in with that second layer more so at the center, just to really help that color pop in that area. You'll want to fully cure that as well. And here is how the two nails are looking side by side. And we are going to go ahead and add some gold accents. So I'm going to use another one of our art gels. This is Solar Sinistry. These are available individually, or you can purchase the whole Celestial Love collection. They come sealed like this. You can remove the seal partially, or you can remove it fully. This color is just super stunning as well. It's a gold, but it has a kind of pinkish rose gold undertone. It's a very unique gold. So we're gonna go ahead and take our liner brush and kind of do a simple frame design at the tip and the top of the nail, just to add a little bit of an accent. And this color is gonna look slightly different depending on how the base looks, but I feel like that's kind of the fun part of it because it does have that kind of rose gold color shift. So you'll see how it looks a little different with this pink nail versus the nail with antique jade. But I love that about it. You know, I kind of like how it kind of reflects differently based on what the base color kind of is. So you can see here it looks more of like a true gold. But again, that thicker consistency really helps making draw that kind of frame design super easy. Now we are getting into the actual stained glass design. So I'm gonna be doing the outline with a black gel paint. So I'm just loading up my brush evenly. And this is all summer themed. So we're gonna start out with kind of a simple beach design. I'm kind of drawing the kind of horizon of the water and then a half circle for the sun. And then I'm just doing kind of random lines again to represent the stained glass and different fragments of the glass, kind of like almost like a mosaic. This was in the inspo picture that I found that I'll put up on the screen. And then I'm doing some lines here at the bottom to represent the beach and the sand. And I'm just gonna keep the outline black for this design. I've seen a lot of stained glass nails that way and I think it looks really unique, but you could do like isolated chrome or whatever you'd like. And of course I have to use etchedember for the sun. Just that fiery orange was perfect. And then we're taking golden hour and we're gonna start adding that into the different pieces that we've drawn here, but we're also gonna add in some drops of Rosette Pane. That's the great thing about jelly colors, is you can even mix them together as well. They're so buildable, and because of their consistency, it makes mixing the colors to create like different effects or different layers super easy. So like here I did Rosette Pane as the base, and then I went ahead and dropped in just some little drops of golden hour just to create a little bit of a blend of the both, and it just turned out so seamless and it blended so easily. So yeah, all that to say, having like a good range of jelly polishes in your nail art kit will definitely take your art to the next level. So I'm just gonna go ahead and alternate that again, mixing the two colors in the rest of the pieces here and then fully cure. And of course for the ocean part, we're gonna use glass Atrium, and we're also gonna use Winter's Veil, which is a pearlescent white from our winter collection. I use this color in almost every set that I do. Having a good pearlescent white is also really gonna help take your nail art to the next level, because it just adds a really cool like dimensional effect to all of your art, like without even trying. Like just the nature of the color itself, it's just so easy to mix in with other colors just to create a really cool kind of pearlescent effect. So as you can see here, I added in some drops of that and I mixed it in with the dotting tool, and it created this really pearly nice effect. So highly recommend that. And then for the sand, I'm taking our Pixie Dust gel polish, also from a previous collection, and mixing that for golden hour. This created the perfect sand color. I think I'm gonna do a separate video showing this on our shop page, but this honestly was like the perfect sand color, so I just went ahead and added that in for the bottom of the nail, and that is the kind of simple beach design here. I went ahead and top coated that. Here is how the nail looked after top coat, and I really loved the kind of different elements here with the pearlescent effect, the glitter, and then just the stained glass on its own. Next, we are doing a kind of mid-century modern geometric design. So I'm taking my liner brush and some black gel paint and drawing out the lines. Using a longer liner brush and a thicker gel paint really helps with that, and loading up your brush evenly. That's really gonna help improve your line work. Using a longer brush just makes it easier to draw the lines, and it kind of helps stabilize everything. So for this design, we're pretty much drawing some random symmetrical lines and then some overlapping circles. And this is just gonna be our base again for the stained glass, that effect that we add in with the jelly polish. So like I mentioned, jelly polishes are also perfect for stained glass nails. That's obviously a big inspiration behind this collection as well. I was originally just gonna go in with this purple, but then I went ahead and took Winter's Veil, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and create some texture in some different areas. So Winter's Veil, this is the color that I was showing earlier. This is our pearlescent kind of silverish white. It's really great for also creating textured stain nails. There's so many different ways to do stain nails, but it's really fun to kind of mix it all up. So if you take the pearlescent white and you apply a very thin layer and swirl it around with the dotting tool, it is going to create the perfect base for that textured kind of pressed stained glass look, because you can add any jelly color over it and it will automatically just create that kind of textured effect. So that's what I'm doing here, but I'm doing it just on like specific parts of the design, what would be like different panes of glass. So you want to go ahead and cure that and then apply a layer of the jelly polish over it, and you can already see kind of the pressed glass effect that it's creating. And we're also going to use some of the colors just to fill in some of the areas regularly just over the clear nail. Again, just another way to do stained glass, so just really fun to kind of mix it up, and I would definitely recommend trying out the different techniques and variations as well. So for this nail, I used quite a few colors. I used crimson wash, I used violet prism, I'm using etchedember. I mean, we're really using every single color from the collection here, and golden hour as well. I'm using a shorter brush when I go in for the actual stained glass part, because I feel like it's easier to kind of get into those tight corners. For the larger clear part, I wanted to use golden hour. I feel like it's a little bit more of a subtle color, not necessarily subtle in the way that it's not like bright, but it kind of brings the background together a little bit more. And then I'm taking antique jade as well and filling in those smaller areas and just alternating those colors again. And again, these colors are super buildable, so you can apply them to be a lot more, you know, less opaque. I mean, they're pigmented, but you could even like build up the layers if you wanted it to be more opaque, but it'll definitely still maintain that transparent look. So here we are finishing off the last piece, and once that's fully cured, we're going to add our top coat, and this is how this nail turned out. I mean, really, you could just take your nail art brush and start drawing random lines, and really any pattern you could create a stained glass effect with. Next, we're going to take two colors and mix them together. Winter's Veil once again with the class Atrium, and we're going to create kind of a pearlescent blue, and we're taking our art gel brush. This is also available on our site. It's really great for mixing colors and applying mixed colors. It's also really perfect for our art gels. This is what it was kind of created for in the first place. But whenever I do custom mixtures, I use it as well. So I went ahead and applied that blue mixture, and now I'm using a dotting tool again. I wanted to do the textured pressed glass effect, but I wanted to add a little bit of color to it. So mixing it with the jelly polish was perfect. And now we're kind of doing a summer lemon design. I also found this inspiration, so we're just kind of loosely recreating the design. So the first step is once again just outlining everything with the black gel paint, fully curing that, and then we will go ahead and add in our jelly colors for the stained glass effect. And I am switching over to my longer liner brush anytime I do the line work, because again, it just makes it super easy to draw those curved lines, and also just easier to hold a lot more paint and so forth on my brush. And I'm just adding in those vines and some leaves. Leaves are super easy too once you get the hang of it. It's just about getting those curves and angles in there. So again, the longer liner brush really helps with that. Another tip too is, especially, I mean, you can do this even if you're doing like your actual nails versus press-ons, is you can cure in between and flash cure so you don't have to worry about messing up your line work. So anyways, once we've got the outline down, we're gonna take golden hour and start adding that in. It's kind of the perfect lemon color, and you can build it up even more, but we're gonna add some more into it, as you'll see here in a second. So I just went ahead and added that both at the top and the bottom and fully cured it. As I mentioned earlier, jelly polishes are also really great for shading and adding dimension, because they add that pop of color, but they're not overly opaque, and they just blend super easily. I'm definitely going to be doing that in more nail sets, but for this theme, I definitely wanted to do more of a stained glass thing. But as you can see here, I added etchedember right over the top, like a very thin layer, and it just added such a nice kind of like layer of shading and dimension to the lemon. Now we're taking verdant glaze, and we are adding that just for the leaves. Super simple, keeping that very basic. And then I went ahead and cured, and we are done with the pinky. This is how it turned out. I feel like anything with a fruit design is also very summer, so this was perfect as just kind of a mix and match design. Here is how one hand is looking, and like I mentioned, we are doing 10 nails, so Let's move on to the thumb. On the other hand, we're going to be doing a palm tree. So I'm just drawing the trunk here. Again, the longer liner brush is really key. It just makes those lines flow super easily. Now I'm adding in those different lines here just to draw the different panels of the stained glass. And for the palm tree, we are doing each leaf one at a time. The focus here is really kind of adding those curves. You don't want it to look super uniform. I have an inspo image that I popped up on the screen that I'm kind of following for the most part, but I feel like for this, just kind of making sure that it's not super just curved one way and kind of has like random curves in it. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll see what I'm doing here. You know, it's just kind of swirling out different parts of the leaf, and having an inspo image definitely helps. Now we're adding the big leaf here and connecting that. The curved lines are again very important, and then adding the last one here. And then this part was super fun. It's just adding in the different fragments of glass, and we're going to add in different colors for these, just like the inspo image. Once you get the basic outline down, it's honestly super easy. That's the hardest part of the stained glass nails, is getting the outline down. But once you've done that, that's the fun part, is just adding in the different colors. So we're going to use verdant glaze, antique jade, and glass atrium, just like the inspo picture. So I'm adding in glass atrium first and then going in with antique jade. I'm just alternating basically one color after the other, and then verdant glaze right in between. I'm just trying to make sure that none of the two same colors are pretty much touching, so it's pretty much a variety. And like I said, as you can see, this is the fun part where you just add in the different colors, and it's just like filling in the blanks, filling in the different lines, like coloring basically. And I did draw kind of the longer kind of panel there at the top with the leaves where I added in verdant glaze, and then I just went ahead and alternated glass atrium and antique jade right underneath. And for the tree trunk, I'm using a black mixed with clear just to add that in. And then I'm using crimson wash, like a very subtle layer, just so it's not too overpowering. We're just gonna fill in the blanks with that. And then for the background, I'm using etchedember. I just went ahead and used my gel polish brush to get most of the product on there because there was a lot of space to cover, and then I went in with a smaller brush to fill that in. I wanted a very bright background for this, and etchedember was perfect. And it's easier to do it this way, which is you basically do the design because it's going to take up most of the space, and then you go in with the background color after. So it's kind of what you would expect to do the other way around, but this way is actually easier, and it actually saves you more time and more product, just kind of going back in and adding the color around everything. So here's how this palm tree is looking after top coat. Super fun for summer, and this is how the nails are looking. So we only have 2 more nails to go. Like I said, I just replicated the aura design on the other hand. Now we are doing a sun design. So again, from the inspo image, we are drawing a circle. I just drew 2 reference points to kind of help me map out and try to make sure everything is centered as it can be. Now we're gonna draw the different sun rays one at a time. So we're doing the larger ones, and again, it's all about the curved lines. So making sure that that bottom line is more curved in and kind of comes to a point really helps make sure that we're following the reference image as closely as we can. So that's kind of what I try to do, is I look at my reference image and I try to look at closely where the lines are curving, and I try to follow it as closely as I can. Again, sometimes it's not a super perfect copy paste, and sometimes I'm just following it as a loose inspiration just to kind of give me a guideline of how to get started. So I mean, at the end of the day, this is art. There are no rules, so you can really just go about it however you want. But if you do have an inspiration image, it does kind of help provide at least a kind of helpful starting point. So I'm just finishing up the different sun rays, drawing the smaller ones here again, and I mirrored that on the other side, just repeated it, and then we are taking golden hour once again, adding that to the center. You can see the stained glass inspo image here had kind of a yellowish color, an orange color, and a red, so golden hour was perfect to start with, and then we'll go in with etchedember for the orange, and then crimson wash. This feels like a very classic stained glass design. Like I could just see like you'd have this like hanging in your backyard in like a stained glass, like I forget what those are called, but you like hang them outside and it like shows through the sunlight. But anyways, now I'm going ahead and adding etched ember here. to the top and the bottom. I just tried to follow the reference image as much as I could and added the orange and red wherever they had added it as well. And I do fully cure as well, and you can go in with another layer if you want it to be even more opaque. And you can even flash cure as well in between, just so you feel like the colors are not moving around too much as you kind of twist and turn the press-on nail as we often do when we're painting. So we're finishing off with crimson wash. And then for the background, again, I'm using that technique of just, I'm filling in the background after everything is done. So I'm doing the pressed glass effect here again. So I'm taking Winter's Veil, adding a layer of that, and then taking my dotting tool and swirling it around. And also, you can see I did not bring the brush all the way to the edges. I just concentrated it around pretty much 90% of it, and then I just took the dotting tool and filled in the edges that way. It's a lot cleaner to do it that way. You don't need to worry about using your brush to fill in everything perfectly. This is definitely kind of a work smarter, not harder technique, so I'm gonna do the same thing here. Use the dotting tool to actually get it close to the edges. So here's how everything looked after top coat. I really love how Winter's Veil looked on its own in the background here. Now for the last nail, super easy. We were doing a swimming pool design, so we're bringing back the, was it 2022 or 2023 this is trending? So anyways, you do your jelly blue. I used glass Atrium, I fully cured. Now I'm taking a mixture of milky white. So this is basically clear top coat and white gel polish. Do a layer of that with the art gel brush. Do not cure it, and then take your dotting tool and some top coat and start adding some dots. And try to make the dots smaller if you can, but it'll basically start spreading around. And that's how you do a swimming pool look. Super easy and fun for summer. Here is the full set. I love how this mix and match stained glass design turned out. Very on brand for summer, and I used every color from the Art Glass Gel Polish collection. So again, this was my launch day set that I did actually for the collection. So you can shop the full Art Glass Gel Polish collection now on our website at doperthanyournails.com. You can shop individual pieces, but the collection is actually more discounted versus if you bought them individually, and link is in the bio, and you can use code YouTube to save %. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.